All right, so I want to cover on this episode, I would like to cover, and don't think of the what the woke community is saying, but what is a man? What is a person? Is one of the things I want to talk about. And I know that's outside of health and fitness, but stay with me on this. I think it transfers tremendously to being consistent in what comes from the heart. Society in today with social media, the individuals that have been in the trenches, that have won the titles, relative to the individuals that just have their pages and they talk well. That's the second thing I'd like to cover with you. And then the third thing is proper passion. And the proper passion, because I always talk about, I'm not motivated, I'm passionate. And I just wrapped my latest movie, Magazine Dreams, yesterday.
I wanted to ask you about that, actually. I heard about that film.
And I had some deep talks with the lead actor, Jonathan. And it just really, it gives me tingles right now thinking about the conversations we were having from somebody that is passionate. But again, his point was proper passion. And so I want to kind of go into that. So we got those three things to cover on this first episode, and I hope the fans enjoy this, because I've been on set and really thinking about how can we help more than giving up somebody a shoulder workout or what foods to eat. I think there's bigger picture here when it comes to health and fitness. And so I'm going to jump back to the first one. My point of view on what is a human, what is a man, is it's the actions of the individual, not the words. It's the actions. Words can be. What is your take, and what is, if you could elaborate on what you believe to be a human or a man, or their actions?
Well, I feel like it's all about the actions. Obviously, I feel like sometimes people make mistakes too. You can't just judge somebody off of one action. I feel like it's the consistency of the actions. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it can't just be like some people are so fast to jump out of the window. You know what I mean? Like call each other out on social media over some stupidity. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you've been through that before. But in reality, if they had a conversation or if they build a rapport, you know what I mean, you got to really judge somebody off various instances, right? And sometimes, you really got to have a personal relationship with a person. Like, sometimes you hear, oh, this guy's like this and that guy is like that, but then you meet him and you're like, no, that guy's actually a good guy, and you build a relationship with him. So maybe you can't just judge somebody based off other people's conversations. You got to really experience it. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it, especially in today's world, the social media world, that we live in.
I like that because it is true that, you are your actions, not the words, in my opinion. But again, people make mistakes. And I was just watching a comedian, and he set the crowd up so well, because he just said in a similar way, but very charming way, he said, you know that individual that's going to judge you as soon as you make that first mistake? And the whole crowd's like, oh, we know that guy. Yeah, it's you guys, all of you. And the point was, it's true. It's like society is waiting for you to drop it. Oh, you said something wrong. Oh, you did something wrong. Done with you. I'm done with you. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you've been a good guy for 30 years. You got that one incident, and they're done. And so I think you're right.
I think people love, a lot of times people love to build somebody up, and they love to see them go down in flames. You know what I mean?
Why is it?
I don't know. I think it's like a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like a spectacle for a lot of people.
Everybody wants you to do well until you do well.
Yeah, and then they want to see that burst, explosion.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'll try to stay on this, is that, again, I go off the person's actions relative to their words. And then again, I agree with you that you can't judge somebody by somebody else's opinion of them. And I think that's kind of what you were saying. It's like you got to have your own rapport with that individual.
Absolutely, have to. You have to do that. You know.
I filmed a few, 6 movies now this last year and a half, and one of the movies was with Stephen Dwarf. And I heard so much about going into this project that, hey, just know that he's a little temperamental and stuff like that. I met him and I played his younger brother. Fine. 100% cool, no problem with him. There was nothing like people said. Now, again, maybe it's me and how we report, but again, it's if I went off of everybody else's opinion of this individual, I would have went in completely different, and it turned out to be a great guy.
He's probably intimidated by you, though. I'm just saying, maybe
It
not.
goes back to the other one. He's like, yeah, this first thing, dude, you're huge.
Yo, so how's the new movie that you were doing, the magazine Dreams? How was that experience?
Unreal, because it's we're in this stage, and I'll keep writing this. I'll keep writing it. We keep getting these projects, and they keep getting so much bigger and bigger and bigger. And this one is huge, and it's going to be out in 2023. Yeah, the cast is amazing. And we'll talk about the cast and more at a later time, but let me just say that the individual that's the lead in this had a great discussion with me, because Magazine Dreams is basically about, it's the wrestler in bodybuilding. Remember Mickey Rourke in Wrestler? So that's what this is. And so it kind of shows you this dark side, and the way they're filming it, and the director and the producer and the lead actor just came off of Creed 3, and he's off to go do a Marvel movie now. He's great, but we had a talk, and one of his talks was about the studying of bodybuilders and how they visually look and what the passion is to get them there. And his insight to this, which was, I thought, amazing, goes, I see guys that lift out of anger and they look a visual way, and I see guys that lift out of the artistic passion of it and they look a certain way. And I was like, wow, I've never even thought of that. But it's that inner demons or whatever it is that keeps that passion going, and the chip on your shoulder kind of does play an effect on how you visually look and how you visually train. And I just thought that was something I've never, in 45 years of health and fitness, I've never heard somebody talk about it in that sense. And I think it took an actor who had to study it in such a outside world coming and viewing in, that it just blew me away.
Is that movie gonna, like, you know, the first thing people are gonna ask is it like, you mentioned the dark side of bodybuilding, right? Is it something gonna like make bodybuilding look a certain way, like it's a dangerous sport, or is it gonna make it look like it's a glorious sport? You know, what do you think people will think? Because people are gonna make judgments. You know what I'm saying? Like, even we talked about Nick Walker, we talked about like health aspects of bodybuilding. Some people don't like that. They don't want to hear nothing about that. You remember? So
yeah, I think this is going to throw a lot of light on all aspects of bodybuilding. And again, it's a theatrical piece. It's a very dark and ominous kind of piece with great actors. And I think this is just going to, it is going to do what it does. It's going to trigger emotion, you know, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's going to trigger emotion. And you know, it's like Rocky. Was Rocky about boxing, or was it about a man's passion and struggles through life? So in my take, boxing was the background. And in this case, I think bodybuilding is the background of it, but it's the struggle of this guy's life and what he's doing to try to achieve what he's doing. And I think it's a great thing, because you and I know this. And I've always said this. I've seen the next great Arnold come and go every year since I've been at Gold's Gym Venice in '89. You know, it's, I see so many people come in with demons and they hit it big and then they're gone. Or they hit it and they destroy themselves. And so I think it's a good insight to anything. And I don't think it has to do with bodybuilding. I think it's just placed in the bodybuilding world. But I think it's huge. This thing's already been set for Sundance, and the film festivals and stuff, and they're holding this thing out before theatrics, before they release it for awards, because they're so focused. And the crew they put together is the director, the DP, the cast and crew I can't say enough about, and the producers, just second level.
You know, it's funny you brought up Rocky, and it's in the Rocky movies, right? Like Rocky was progressively getting brain damage or something, right? He was getting like issues with his brain to the point where he had to retire early, right? Remember that? But nobody ever in the boxing community was like, oh, this is bad for boxing. Like, it's the opposite. Like, they're always praising Rocky. They're promoting it at the boxing events, even though they showed the dark side of boxing also, right? I'm just saying, like, the boxing never, like, looked down on Rocky movies, even though he was getting beat up severely throughout all of the films.
I don't know why I brought up Rocky, but this kid is in Creed 3. He just finished that and going into this, so it's kind of cool to see that too. And I'm excited for the world to see this kid, because I keep going back to, I get so many people that say to me, man, you're a inspiration for guys, older guys. And I'm like, oh, I hope not. And that may seem odd to people, but I hope not, because it's nothing to do with what I'm doing now. Everything that I'm doing now is because of what I did as a teenager. Is because of what I did pre-puberty. Is because of what I did in my 20s. Is the only reason I'm still here today. And everybody looks at me and they go, "Oh, kid, you're awesome for us older guys." And I'm just like, no, because you're not going to get like this if you start at 50. You're going to get like this if you're consistent as a young kid. And the only reason I'm saying that is because this guy looks incredible. Because first of all, it's a bodybuilding movie, and you got a guy that's an actor being the lead. So you got a question, well, is he going to look good? And he looks great. And he looks great. And it's again, when people say to me, sorry about talking so much, but they go, man, I've been consistent for 22 years. No, you've been doing it wrong for 22 years. This kid's been training a year and looks incredible and looks like he could get on the stage at the Mr. Olympia. And he's been training a year. And so my point is, I wish, it seems like everybody's still reading the driver's manual. Well, I'm trying to explain, I'm already on the race at the very end. You guys got to get off that what you think works in health and fitness, and stay with the consistency and just do it right, instead of, hey, I've been training for 6 months. I know it's a back and forth there, because not everybody knows how to do it right. But there's enough people out there that are teaching it the right way. Sorry about that.
No, I agree with you. What was the next topic? You brought up 3 things in the beginning.
Which kind of actually, my statement there about, I don't care that you're consistent for 22 years. I care that you're doing it right for a year or 6 months. And that leads me to how there is on social media, people can rebuttal. You know, I put up a video saying behind the neck press is what helped me, and I could do 315 pounds, which is more than 99% of people bench. Behind the neck press at 19, and I can still do it closing in on 60. And I could do it every day in between there. And so then you got people that will rebuttal and go, well, that's not true. It's really, really bad for your shoulder. I don't care if you like my advice. I'm just letting you know that I've done it for over 45 years, and it's helped me stay healthy where others have deteriorated. And so there's guys, and Stan Everton said it great, pick a guy to follow that's not only been in the trenches and won, but won for a long period of time. Also that studied it. Also that maybe even got better over time, instead of, you've seen the guys, they've looked great for 3 years and then they're done. And they look like, you're Mr. What? You don't even look like you compete. So when it comes to social media, what is your suggestion on picking a coach or picking somebody that actually has knowledge relative to the kid that talks? And these kids, they're growing up on social media, so they talk so well. They talk articulate, they're charming, they're great, they got millions of followers. It's like they say something, I'm like, wow, that's great car wax, I'm buying that. You know, you know what I mean? They can sell you something. So how do you decide?
That's actually one of the questions I've been asking a lot of the bodybuilders. How do you pick a coach? You know what I'm saying? But you know. Also, what I was thinking, like obviously, you look like you're in amazing shape all the time, right? So obviously, when you give
I'm not in good shape. No.
Come on, man. Anyway, so when you give an advice, right, you have credibility. Now, a lot of the coaches, and I'm not going to bring up any names, but a lot of the coaches in bodybuilding who are very credible, they don't necessarily look like they're in the best shape, right? But they have the knowledge. It's just like a coach of a basketball team, right? He doesn't, maybe he used to play basketball, right? But at this point, he doesn't look like he can play basketball, right? But he's still coaching the team. So, like, it's a good point. Does your coach have to be in perfect shape for you to trust him? I mean, probably not, right? Because they still might have the knowledge.
Not for me, it does. For me,
For you, it does. For you, it does.
For me, it does, because of the fact of if I'm getting advice of someone that was in great shape in their 20s, great, you're 20. If you're not in great shape in your 20, then you're just lazy. You know, I'm done with you. But if you were in great shape in your 20s and you couldn't maintain it in your 30s, what knowledge do you not know to maintain that in your 30s? Or are you saying that this is something you can't do into your 30s? Because then my question is, well, the advice you're giving, you're not living. So is it feasible? And can I do it for a long period of time? Because again, I'm not the guy that goes, I want to be Mr. Universe for a day. I won the Universe in 97 was the last time I won it. I could beat that kid today. I look at Stan Efferden. I look at these guys that are still lifting weights and still lifting a full life, because I think at the end of the day, people are going to go, nobody told me after I just completely destroy my system at 25 years old, at 27, my physique is going to be destroyed and I'm going to go below average for the rest of my life. And I'm going to have bad knees and I'm going to have bad shoulders and bad lower back because I trained this hard and I did this kind of stuff. And now I'm destroyed for life. Because I would rather the coaches go, I can get you in shape, but then I can also keep you healthy for a lifetime. So what do you want? And so if it's the guy that's the trainer and the chemist, then you're choosing your coach. Does that make sense to you?
Most of them are.
Because they are trainers and chemists now.
Right. But I think the top, I'm not going to say names right now because I don't want even them to be upset, but like the top coaches, aren't they also chemists as well, as you said?
I think so. Especially, I think especially for the health and fitness world, they're chemists. And they have to know what they're doing and stuff. And I guess my point is, just tell them that it's the combination of the two. I guess in my sense, I wish they would just kind of go, hey, it's a combination of the two, is who I do. Or go to a guy that specializes in nutrition. Does he need to look like he's jacked? Well, he needs to look healthy. I can't have a 300-pound guy come in and say, I'm your heart doctor. It's like, I mean, there's got to be the education. Then there's got to be the experience, and the experience beats all. The experience of going, okay, I did this as a teen. I did this pre-puberty. I did it in my teens. I did it in my 20s. I did it in my 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm still as strong now that I was when I won the state championship at 18. So it's like, I want that kind of level for everybody to have that kind of coach. I want like these Stan Efferdens. You ever just shook Ed Cohen's hand?
Me, no, never. I never met him.
Crushes it. He's just so strong. But that's a guy that's still healthy today in the sense, and he can still break you and lift that kind of solid. And so I just kind of want that for health and fitness.
So you would never hire a coach, if you were competing, you would never hire a coach who looks out of shape, right? Like present.
I wouldn't hire a coach knowing that he's going to get me in the best shape, and that's the ultimate goal for me right then and there, and there's no after effects. I think I'm speaking more about the after effects relative to, I want to win the show. And I guess my point is, trust me when I say this, winning a show is awesome. And it may set you up in your own business and own life, but it's about the full life and about the possibility that you can create a healthier lifestyle and live like Jack LaLanne, which again, I don't think most people know who that is, but was doing feats at 80, 90 years old that were amazing. And I think Jay Cutler just said this. He goes, I gave up so much time to win these shows, and then after I retired, I realized there's so much more life left.
Of course, but do you think back to what he was saying? Do you think when he was competing, it was a mindset of trying to win?
No.
He couldn't think about
No.
those things. Then he had to win. You know.
No,
That was the
I
level.
agree with you. I'm not saying that's not, but at least we're getting vocal about saying there's something after. And the more you talk to the old school guys, the after is pretty badass. If you're still healthy. And I think that's my point about it. It's like, you want to win the show, do whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. You want to take all the trend in the world, rock and roll. But understand the consequences. You know what I mean, though? I know it's harsh, but it's like winning in a sense to hurt yourself. Now you're setting yourself up to fail. And that's why I never jumped on stage. And I remember when I won the Mr. California and I got off stage and they're like, dude, 20 pounds heavier and this is what's next. And I'm like, cool. And I turned away and walked away and go, heck no. Because of the fact that I knew that extra 20 is setting me up to fail in life and the show doesn't do anything for me.
What you think about Synthol, like injection Synthol that to bring up certain body parts to match the other body parts? I know you don't like it, obviously, but I heard so many people are doing it. I heard a lot of people are doing it.
I stay away from all that kind of stuff. I don't. Whatever they want to do for their bodies to make them feel better and stuff. I have I guess that would go back to the training. There's got to be a way. I wouldn't want a trainer. And this is what I don't comprehend why people don't look past the basics. You don't go and let's say Mike Mentzer, not Mike Mentzer. Let's go with Lee Priest has some incredible arms, don't you think? Mm-hmm. Some of these guys have incredible body parts.
Sure.
But you wouldn't go to them for that arm workout. Because they're prone to build those incredible body parts that they have. Do you stay with me on that? So I wouldn't go to like somebody like Tom Plaz and say, hey, whatever your leg workout, I'm going to do it. Because I'm going to get the same effects. It doesn't work that way. And so when it goes to Synthol, there's a fault that you're not connecting to develop that body part the way you're developing the rest of the body parts. Figure that out, because that's part of the science here. This is part of the discovery, the education. How can we trigger this body part that's failing to even out with the rest of the body? And that's what makes the very best. The very best are so balanced. So they figured out how to connect with all the muscles. And I think that's a freaking fun journey to discover. And so I'm not a fan of Synthol. But man, does it look freaky on people. Holy sheesh. Traps up to their ears. Oh, what do you think of Synthol?
It's crazy. I mean, you know, it's like this. From what I heard about this, right? If it's done on a very minuscule level, just to bring up certain parts, it's almost unnoticeable. But as soon as you cross the line, just a little bit, it becomes looking like a fake muscle. And I was talking to Milos about that. He said he messed up his, I think it was a bicep or something. He messed it up by using it too much, I guess. He talked about it openly, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I got to talk to Milos. I got to sit down with that boy.
Well, he's pro chemistry, as you said.
Yeah, he's bright though. He's both. You know, he understands training. He understands all that stuff, and he's been around. You know, he was with us in the early '90s and late '80s and stuff. So it's cool to see somebody like that, and he's just a good guy. I like him. As for trainers, and a little recap. At the end of the day, you're going to need to know what to ask them. If you want to win Mr. Olympia, then that's what you're going to choose. If you want to stay healthy for a lifetime, that's my recommendation, and that's what you should choose. So if someone's going to get you in shape, how are they going to get you in shape? Pretty much anybody can do that. It's not the toughest thing to do, but it's getting you in shape in the right way so afterwards you're not damaged. And that's the whole point about picking the right trainer. And I say pick a trainer that can do this. Stay away from the chemist, the medical side of that, and stay with somebody that understands nutrition. Because at the end of the day, I'll tell you this, it is nutrition which is the best medicine in the world to live a long, healthy life.